Don't make this mistake when he contacts you. So he finally texts you. After days, maybe weeks of silence, that message pops up on your screen and your heart skips a beat. Hey, how have you been? Let me tell you something. This is the moment that determines more than any sweet words he could ever say. This is the test. The mistake? You drop everything. You reply immediately. You get hopeful. You think, maybe now he realized what he lost. But here's the truth. He didn't come back because he changed. He came back to check if you did. The biggest mistake women make in this moment is abandoning the growth they made in his absence. You spent days rebuilding your self-worth. You cried, you healed, you remembered your value. But then he contacts you, and you go back to the version of yourself who is waiting, doubting, hoping. Pause. Ask yourself, why is he reaching out now? What pattern have I seen before? Am I excited about his presence or just addicted to the attention? You are not a convenience. You're not a second thought. If someone goes quiet, distances themselves, or disappears altogether, and then returns casually, you don't owe them open arms. You owe yourself the respect of asking, what do I want now? Don't entertain breadcrumbs when you deserve the whole loaf. Don't let loneliness convince you that someone's inconsistency is love. And most of all, don't confuse contact with commitment. The right person won't make you wonder, they'll make you feel safe, seen, and valued without disappearing acts. So when he contacts you, breathe. Don't panic. Don't romanticize. Stay grounded in what you've learned about yourself, because how you respond now is what tells the universe how you want to be treated moving forward. You don't need closure, you need clarity. You don't need to be wanted, you need to be chosen. And if he comes back only to repeat the past, don't make the mistake of stepping into the same pain twice just because it's wearing a different smile. When someone who once walked away or disappeared suddenly reaches out again, it can be incredibly tempting to respond with open arms. The heart remembers the connection, the emotions, and the hope that maybe this time it'll be different. But here lies one of the most dangerous and common mistakes, abandoning all the progress you made while they were gone. During their absence, you likely went through a roller coaster of emotions. You cried, doubted yourself, maybe even blamed yourself for the silence, but through that pain, you started rebuilding. You reconnected with your self-worth. You began to understand your value again, and you started remembering what you actually deserve in a relationship. But the moment he contacts you, it's easy to regress. That excitement rushes in, and suddenly all the nights you spent growing strong feel distant. You start justifying his past behavior. You begin softening your boundaries. You start thinking more about what you could say to keep him than about whether he even deserves a place in your life anymore. This is the exact moment where many people lose themselves, because they confuse the return of communication with the return of a relationship. A message is not an apology. A hey is not a plan. A random check-in isn't a declaration of love. But when you're emotionally invested, even the smallest breadcrumb can feel like a feast. What makes this mistake so devastating is that it undoes the very transformation that you worked so hard for. You become reactive instead of intentional. You let the past version of you, the one that tolerated confusion and inconsistencies, take the lead. And the hard truth is this: if you respond from that place, you're giving them access to the old you, the version who accepted less, who waited, who hoped without proof. That's not growth, that's relapse. It's important to understand that the version of you who survived their absence is the one worth protecting. She's the one who picked herself back up, who started seeing clearly, who raised her standards. That version of you is not desperate, she's discerning. She doesn't jump at the first sign of attention. She listens for consistency, for action, for real intention. When he contacts you, it's not your job to be grateful. It's your job to be thoughtful. What has changed? What do you need now that you didn't ask for before? How will you make sure your needs don't get buried under the excitement of being noticed again? Because the contact isn't the gift, you are. The work you've done, the woman you've become, the standards you've set, all of that is worth far more than a few kind words from someone who vanished when it mattered most. To abandon that growth for a second round of confusion is to tell yourself that you don't trust the strength you've built. But you should. You earned it. When someone reaches back out after a period of silence, it's natural to feel a flood of emotions. Curiosity, hope, excitement, even anxiety. You may think, why now? And your mind might instantly fill with romantic possibilities. Maybe he finally realized what he lost. Maybe he missed you. Maybe he's ready now. But this is where the emotional trap begins. Because instead of questioning why he's reaching out, we rush to interpret the contact as a sign of change. And often, we skip over the most important part, questioning the timing and motive of his return. Not every message is a sincere act of reconnection. Sometimes people reach out for selfish reasons. Loneliness, boredom, ego. They might want comfort without commitment, validation without offering anything real. And because it feels good to be wanted again, we don't always stop to consider the why behind the message. That's where we lose our power. When you don't question the motive, you risk stepping back into a situation where nothing has truly changed, just the timing. Patterns tell more truth than words. Has this person disappeared before? Do they only contact you when it's convenient for them? Is there a cycle of intense attention followed by silence? These are the questions that require brutal honesty. The heart wants to believe in the best-case scenario. The mind must step in to protect you from repeating a lesson you already learned. Because often, when someone reaches back out, it's not because they've evolved, it's because they want to know if you have. They want to see if they still have access, if you're still available, if they can still get an emotional response from you without putting in real effort. You must treat the moment they contact you not as a reunion, but as a test of your clarity, of your boundaries, of the growth you've achieved in their absence. Ask yourself, what has actually changed here? Are they offering clarity, a real apology, a plan to move forward? Or is it vague, casual, and emotionally lazy? If someone isn't bringing new behavior to the table, then their message, no matter how flattering, is just a repeat of the same script. This is why questioning the timing is powerful. People often return when they sense you've moved on, when they feel their control slipping, when they fear they're being replaced. It's not always about love, it's sometimes about possession. And if you're not grounded in self-awareness, you might mistake control for connection. When someone returns, their presence alone isn't enough. What are they bringing? What are they doing differently? What are they willing to work on? Words are easy. Timing and consistency reveal the truth. Don't ignore the questions your intuition is whispering just because your heart is screaming louder. When someone contacts you after leaving, you have every right and every reason to question their motive before you hand them your energy. One of the most harmful misunderstandings in modern relationships is mistaking attention for commitment. When someone messages you, compliments you, or shows up with sweet words after being absent or inconsistent, it's easy to assume it means they care. It can feel validating, even intoxicating to suddenly be noticed again, especially if you were once emotionally invested in this person. But attention, no matter how flattering, is not the same as someone choosing you with clarity, consistency, and depth. Attention can be momentary, even manipulative. Commitment is intentional. It involves showing up, not just when it's convenient or emotionally comfortable, but especially when it requires effort, vulnerability, and follow through. Attention can come in the form of late-night texts, flirty DMs, or even a spontaneous call just to check in. And those gestures might feel exciting at first, but it's important to take a step back and ask yourself, what is this really offering me? Because someone giving you attention doesn't mean they are offering a real relationship. It doesn't mean they are emotionally available. It doesn't mean they're willing to meet your needs. Sometimes attention is given simply to keep you emotionally tethered while they continue to explore their options. It's a form of keeping the door open without ever committing to walking through it. Commitment, by contrast, looks like someone who consistently communicates, who respects your boundaries, who includes you in their life and future, and who invests emotionally, not just physically or temporarily. It's someone who makes you feel safe, not confused. Someone whose words and actions align over time. If someone only gives you attention when they're lonely, when it's late, or when you've started pulling away, that's not commitment. That's convenience. That's ego. That's someone who wants to keep you interested just enough so they don't lose you, but not enough to truly invest in you. You deserve to be pursued with intention, to be spoken to with clarity, to be treated as a priority, not a backup plan. When you allow yourself to mistake attention for commitment, you lower your standards to meet someone's emotional laziness. You begin to crave crumbs because they momentarily feel like enough. But deep down, you know they're not. Deep down, you know real love doesn't leave you guessing. Real love doesn't make you feel like an option. It doesn't disappear and reappear without explanation. It's present. It's clear. It's accountable. So the next time someone reaches out and showers you with sudden attention, don't let your heart override your standards. Look beyond the moment. Ask yourself if this person has consistently shown up for you, or if they're just showing up now. Ask if they've earned access to your energy again, or if they're just hoping you haven't moved on. Because your worth is not measured by how many people pay attention to you. It's measured by the quality of the connection and the consistency of the commitment behind it. When someone who hurt you or disappeared suddenly reappears, it's easy to feel emotionally overwhelmed. The message, the call, or even a like on social media can trigger memories, old hopes, and fantasies about what could have been. You might tell yourself, maybe they've changed, or maybe this is the closure I needed. But it's vital to recognize that in these moments, you owe yourself one thing more than anything else: clarity. Not closure, not comfort, not a reunion. Clarity is what gives you the power to move forward. It's what prevents you from repeating emotional cycles. It's what protects your peace. Closure is something we often chase from other people. We want them to explain, to apologize, to validate our pain. But waiting for closure from someone else keeps you tied to their timeline. It leaves your healing in their hands. And often the truth is, they either can't or won't give you the answers you want. Or if they do, the explanation doesn't bring peace, it brings confusion, more questions, and a temptation to go back to a situation you already outgrew. That's why what you really need isn't for someone to tie the past up in a pretty bow. It's for you to gain personal clarity on what actually happened and what you deserve moving forward. Clarity means you ask the hard questions and you answer them with brutal honesty. What did I learn from this? What were the patterns I ignored? What parts of me were willing to shrink or wait just to feel chosen? And most importantly, if nothing has changed, why would I expect a different outcome now? That's what clarity gives you. The ability to see the situation for what it is, not what you hoped it would become. So when someone returns and tries to step back into your life, your job is not to jump back into connection or replay the highlight reel in your mind. Your job is to get clear on what you want now. You get to evaluate if this person matches who you are today, not who you were when you were still attached to them. Clarity helps you step outside the emotional fog and say, even if this feels good in the moment, is it actually good for me long term? That level of reflection is what keeps you from making choices based on nostalgia or loneliness. Comfort can feel easier than clarity in the short term. Comfort says, just reply, just talk, just see where it goes. Clarity says, remember what this cost you last time. Remember who you became after it ended. One leads you back into old habits, the other leads you into your future. You don't need more mixed signals. You don't need someone half showing up. You need clear answers, strong boundaries, and alignment with your values. That's what brings peace. Not someone's sudden attention, but your own decision to choose yourself over confusion. Because when you choose clarity, you're not just protecting your heart, you're elevating your life. When he contacts you after a long silence or emotional distance, it's natural to feel a surge of hope. The temptation is real to respond with excitement, to believe that maybe this time he means it, that maybe this time he's serious. But this is the exact moment where your response will reveal everything, not about him, but about you, about where you stand now, how much you've grown, and how deeply you believe in your own worth. The key is to respond from a place of strength, not hope. Because hope, when not rooted in reality, can be dangerous. It can blind you to red flags, to patterns, and to the truth your intuition has been whispering all along. Hope says, he's reaching out because he misses me. Strength says, I need to see if his actions match his words. Hope says, let's pick up where we left off. Strength says, let's evaluate if this even serves me anymore. There is a massive difference between being open-hearted and being open to repeating the same painful lessons. One is rooted in power, the other in longing. And too often people respond from longing. They want to feel desired, remembered, chosen. They want the story to have a happier ending than the one they were left with. But wanting that doesn't make it real. It just makes you vulnerable to more of the same if nothing has actually changed. Responding from strength means pausing before you act. It means not rushing to reply out of fear you'll lose your chance. It means asking yourself, what do I need from a relationship now, instead of asking, how do I make this work again? It means understanding that if someone truly wants to be in your life, they won't make you question their intentions or worth. They'll show up with clarity and consistency, not just words. They won't come and go as they please and expect you to always be available when it suits them. Hope can create illusions. It can convince you that bare minimum effort is a sign of transformation. Strength keeps you grounded. It reminds you of the nights you cried alone, the days you doubted yourself, and the growth it took to finally regain your peace. That growth matters. That healing is sacred. And letting someone back in who hasn't earned it just because they decided to reach out doesn't honor all that work. You have to remember that being contacted doesn't equal being chosen. Just because someone thought of you doesn't mean they're ready for you. And just because they miss you doesn't mean they value you enough to build something real. So when he contacts you, don't respond from the old version of yourself, the one who needed closure, who needed to be picked, who needed to prove her worth. Respond from the woman you are now, the one who knows she doesn't need to chase love, the one who knows her peace is not up for negotiation, the one who finally sees that emotional strength is more powerful than emotional dependency. Because how you respond now tells the world and yourself what kind of love you're ready to receive. Thank you for taking the time to hear this message today. If it resonated with you, it's because you're in a place where you're ready to protect your peace, value your worth, and choose strength over cycles. Remember, hearing from him is not the win. honoring yourself is. Stay strong, stay grounded, and never forget. You are not here to be someone's second thought. You are here to be deeply loved, fully respected, and clearly chosen. Take care of your heart. And until next time, thank you for listening.